Okay, we are ready to begin the Jobs and Business Development Committee for Tuesday, January 12th. I want to welcome our newest council member, Paul Krikorian, to the committee, and he is very welcome because we know that he has carried monumental legislation, if you will, in Sacramento, particularly with regard to the film industry, and given all the work that we have been doing on film, and the fact that we have referred 3 tax-related matters over to the Business Tax Advisory Committee that are right up Mr. Krikorian's alley, and I'm expecting that, given the geography of his district, where there's a high concentration of industry-related folks who live in the community in Paul Krikorian's district, and the industry as well, that he's going to be a tremendous addition to this committee, and I don't have to do so much work. So that's a wonderful thing. And so, if you'd like to make some opening comments, this would be the time.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that welcome, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve with you on this exceptionally important committee. There's no more important task ahead of the council right now than jobs development and business development in this city. So I'm looking forward to taking on that task with you, and I especially appreciate your leadership on protecting film and television production jobs. It's been something that I've devoted a considerable amount of my time for the last 3 years in doing, and we've had some measure of success in the state legislature. I'm looking forward to have that kind of success here in Los Angeles as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And we are also joined by Councilmember Parks, and that provides a full complement to the committee. And we want to thank Paul Koretz for serving in the interim, knowing that one of the 2 candidates was going to serve on this committee, but he served in your stead, and I think he's also going to continue to be a player on issues related to the film industry. But with that, let's move on to item number 1.
Item number 1 is a Chief Legislative Analyst report relative to the establishment of a Los Angeles Film Commission. And John Wickham's here from the CLA office.
Good afternoon. John Wickham with the CLA's office. We have a report on file concerning a motion that Council passed on January 6th requesting that the CLA evaluate the steps necessary to create a film commission. And we've done a certain amount of research on this. They're basically the standard model for a film commission that we found pretty much anywhere, not only just California, across the nation, is film commissions tend to be a staff person either working for a jurisdiction or for a Visitors and Conventions Bureau. And that person is the film commissioner, and they do all of the work and effort necessary to facilitate filming in a community. That's the permitting, helping find locations, etc. The one significant deviation I found in that model was the State of California Film Commission, which has appointed members who sit and advise the state on film policy. And then the staff to the commission provide the services in permitting and assisting with filming locations and state properties, as well as operating the new incentives program that was created. Thank you very much, Mr. Krikorian. And so with those 2 models, looking at those 2 models, Los Angeles being the unique entity that it is, it looks like the State of California Commission makes more sense as a model for the City of Los Angeles. And so in our recommendation, we suggest that the City Council consider establishing a film commission with 9 appointed members from the film entertainment industry, that 4 of those members would be appointed by the mayor, 5 of those members appointed by the City Council. To be advisory on the city council's or on the city's marketing efforts with regard to film. We want to make sure that we're not duplicating efforts that are already being conducted in other areas. For example, we have Film LA, who does an exceptional job on film permit processing and assisting with locations, etc. They do a certain amount of marketing at this point, but there's an interest in a much broader marketing program in representing the incentives and the programs and the resources available in Los Angeles to the broader entertainment industry, making sure that people know what's available here in the city of Los Angeles. This is a model that's more in line also with, well, one of the recommendations here is that the Film Commission be associated with the city's economic development activities and programs, whether that is with the mayor's office or there is a proposal out there to create an economic development department, whether it be located there, that it be tied to the city's economic development efforts. That way you get you're tying in all of the activities in job creation, in drawing business, retaining business, and the entertainment industry being such an important business in the city of Los Angeles. That seems like the best synergy with the city programs and efforts that the council and the city are making.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you in particular for sort of honing in on some of the key issues related to establishing a film commission. A couple of things. Your recommendations are that we establish in concept. I don't know. How do you establish something in concept? Or should we just support it in concept?
Well, there are different details, and your instruction was not to, your instruction was to have the CLA look at the steps necessary to create a commission, not create a commission and tell us. So we didn't want to presume that the council was immediately taking the action to create the commission. So our advice was to do that. So
I think the word supporting concept accomplishes what you intended. Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay, because I think that way we could move forward on the concept of a film commission in earnest. Yeah. At the same time, we got to pay for it. And the part 2 of your recommendations to report back on the Film Commission agency responsible for city's economic development activity, or under the auspices of the city's economic development activity, and the funding needed to support the commission, which I think is key. Those things we can bear out with further review and understanding. So. Those would be 2 comments with regard to the recommendation. I also think it's important for us to define the difference between a marketing program at Film LA and a marketing program under the auspices of the Conceptual Film Commission. And I think we should make that very clear so that people don't get mixed messages. The worst thing that could happen is if people go to the Film Commission to complain about a film shoot in their community, and then go to Film LA about the Cannes Film Festival or something. And we also know, I think I don't want to say it's published, and we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we do know that the mayor is going to be making some recommendations under the auspices of Austin Butner. Is it Butner? Did I get it right this time? Okay, Austin Butner, who will be heading up their economic development efforts, and so by moving this forward in concept, it gives us an opportunity to see what emerges from their recommendations. Although I do expect those in the short term, and then blending it all together in one effort. But again, the definitions for responsibility have to be very clear, and we would look to you on that. There was one other point I wanted to make. Yeah. This was a small one. You said the purpose of the commission would be to market Los Angeles to the entertainment industry worldwide. I think that is sort of an outreach effort, but we also need to look internally and market the industry to ourselves, not just city government and the departments that impact this industry, but to the community. And so we have to modify this language to incorporate, for example, the neighborhoods of Los Angeles, that we're marketing to the neighborhoods of Los Angeles also, so that they have a better understanding of the film industry and its import, as well as to the various government entities that interact with this industry.
And I think that fits into your previous statement concerning the marketing responsibilities of Film LA and the marketing responsibilities of a film commission. It may be that Film LA, which is working with communities on a regular basis, has a more appropriate role in marketing to that community and informing them of what we're doing, whereas the film commission can look outward to the world and, you know, and to the rest of the nation. This is why you need to come to Los Angeles.
Could be. But I don't want to eliminate the possibility that there could be some intersection there, particularly when it comes to accessing funding streams. You want to have access to both funding streams, not just one. And to block one out, then if it may be conducive to get funding from a different source, and so I don't want to lose those opportunities. But in any case, they need to be working together.
Absolutely.
And so I would hope that the recommendation number 1 would be expanded to include a definitive working relationship with Film LA. Finally, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. Well, I guess it's only generally that I do like the recommendation that this go under the economic development section, wherever it may be. In this case, today it would be in the mayor's office. But the reason I support that is because not all industries should have a specific definitive advocacy program. But the film industry it's synonymous with Los Angeles. Hollywood is synonymous with Los Angeles. It's fundamentally a part of our mission for the last 100 years, and so I think that that to set aside a specific effort under a film commission with all the work that we have to do with the film industry, whereas some industries we don't do that much work. Once they're kicked off, they just go. And in this case, we have a partnership because of the need to partner with the communities where the filming is occurring. And so it's critical that we have I think a declared mission to fight for our film industry. And I think it is appropriate to have that under the economic development, so that we are constantly and always looking at where in our economic development scheme, where's the film industry? And when we recognize the impact of the wages that are paid to the various components of the film industry, the profits that are generated, the tax revenue streams, there's not too many industries that rise to that level, but partnered with the fact that we work on a daily basis with the film industry, and unlike we do with too many industries that I can think of. So I think it's a good report. We need to work on the detail. I don't intend to necessarily push this out of committee right away, and frankly, colleagues, I don't see a need to send this to council yet. I'm a little concerned about sending it half-baked. So what I'd like to do is continue working on it, come back in 30 days with a more complete report, and hopefully by then we'll have a better understanding of what might be happening in the mayor's office, okay? And with that, I think Paul Krikorian is anxious to weigh in.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of comments. You, I think, very well summarized the reason that it's important for us to have a film commission here targeted on this particular industry as opposed to some other industries. And part of that is that this is our heritage industry. This is the industry that California and Los Angeles are most known for. But it's also important for those who work outside of this industry because of the tremendous multiplier effect that this industry has and the impact that it has on so many other non-entertainment industry related jobs and small businesses throughout Los Angeles. And then in addition, this is an industry that is uniquely mobile and uniquely targeted by so many other locations who are trying to take these jobs away from California. So we simply must be much more competitive in the global competition for these jobs, and I think the Commission is an important step in that direction. I also want to comment on your thoughts about the interface between Film LA and a Commission. And we do need to, I think, fairly clearly delineate the mission of each of these agencies as we move forward. But there is some overlap. You mentioned in the potential marketing overlap that there may be, but in addition to that, as we move forward with a film commission that does a more effective job of marketing the broad range of potential locations, government properties that may be available, additional options for filmmakers in Los Angeles, it actually could have the effect of reducing the impact on some neighborhoods that are overutilized now, because we give a greater variety of options to filmmakers, and that will, hopefully alleviate some of the over-concentration on a few favored neighborhoods that we sometimes have now. And then one small comment on the recommendation in the report, which included requesting the CLA, CAO, and Film LA to identify the industry sectors that should be represented on the Commission. I understand what the thinking is behind that. I would just suggest that if we are to identify the representatives by industry sector, those industry sectors be very broadly drawn, because this is a commission that's going to need to be nimble and responsive to changes in the marketplace. It's going to need to be responsive to what sectors of the industry are most susceptible to the work of the Film Commission and getting them to stay, and which are most vulnerable to competitive raids from other places. So I wouldn't want to be too rigid about locking in the identification of the members of the Commission by ordinance. I'd rather have that a little bit more flexible so we can respond to market realities.
We thought that it was probably most important that commissioners have the broadest connections throughout the industry, so that they would be able to pull in people in subsegments of the industry who may not be on the commission, but they have those connections out there. So that's one way to address the fact that with a commission of 9, you're not going to have every sector represented, but at least you have commissioners who are broadly connected throughout the industry and can do the outreach that's necessary.
Ideally, that would be the case.
It also sort of depends on what we pick. I mean, in terms, if we did identify specific sectors that needed to be represented, I think there are anchor sectors, and no matter how we formulate the commission, they got to be there. And so, but whether we get somebody from the convention center to participate, I mean, that's a pretty extreme example. But or today I had somebody from the recording industry that was interested in having a representative on the film industry, and I had to think a bit about that, but with all the video production, that makes some sense. I don't want to say a lot of sense, but it makes some sense. And the commercial industry and the movie industry and all the other aspects, independent films versus large studio films. I mean, there's all kinds of interest. We're not going to be able to get all of them represented, so we only hope. And let me say this, that if there is, again, we want to focus this on the marketing piece. There are some discussions about creating a broader group that would cover all aspects of this discussion: the film permitting process, the marketing program, and everything else, the economic opportunities, strategic development, all kinds of things related to the industry. And that, I think, that's one of the reasons why I want to come back in 30 days, and hopefully we'll have more definition on some of those things. With that, Mr. Parks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had 3 points I'd like to bring up, and I think just to continue to emphasize the absolute necessity of addressing that working relationship with Film LA and the Commission, internally and externally, because I think all the good work we've done on Film LA and letting people know it was a one-stop shop could get diluted if all of a sudden there's a belief that the commission supersedes it or is taking over some of those duties. So I think that is a very critical point in how we develop it, how we expose it and market it to people to know that they're just distinct entities and how they'll work together. The other one is creating a ongoing revenue source, because we've seen so many times that good ideas fail because there's no legs and hands and feet that make the work get done. And these 9 people are going to be very busy. They come to a meeting, they regurgitate ideas on the table, and they leave. Somebody's got to sweep all that up and make it into reality. And so I think there's got to be a lot of consideration of an ongoing revenue source, not the general fund, because we know how that goes, ebbs and flows, but somewhere there's a ongoing financial resource. And the final thing, they've got to give real close consideration. Consistently in our city, we've kept commissioners away from raising money. We have a whole book of ethics things about what you can't do as a commission. Now we're saying we're going to thrust them into a fundraising mode. Now, what does that mean? How does it differ from what we've told them to stay away from? Those are very critical issues as relates to addressing what we're asking them to do. And so those are my 3 issues that I think we need to give a lot of thought to.
Absolutely. And that balance between, finding a source of revenue to fund this commission and the work that it does, and the restrictions that are placed on commissioners with regard to fundraising is something that we'll definitely check with the city attorney on. We don't want to run afoul of any of the ethics concerns.
Yeah, but I do want to point out we do have commissions that do a lot of fundraising. It's not necessarily having a fundraiser, but they may identify a funding stream in the government that they target, and that's when you say fundraising, I'm not thinking just in terms of political fundraising. I'm thinking in terms of governmental streams, interdepartmental streams that might be available. There may be interests in other departments to promote the film industry that relate to their interests, and they may be able to fund portions of this. I don't want to name any right now and get all the general managers all freaked out, but no, I don't anticipate that their primary function is going to be fundraising, and certainly not like you would for the United Way. But for specifically revenue generating ideas, that they do have to be clued in on that. With that, we're going to move to public comment cards. I have 4, and we'll start with Paul Audley. That reminds me, having asked Paul to come up, it reminds me that we might want to create advisory positions for public notice. We had a meeting, and one of the issues that came up is that it would be it could be perceived and may therefore be a conflict of interest for somebody on the Film LA Commission or somebody who works with Film LA to serve on the Film Commission. So we talked about perhaps creating advisory positions to the Film Commission that would be non-voting members, and so we need to spell that out a little bit.
Yeah, ex officio members, I think, is the technical term, and so Film LA, that might be one category, and if there are others that can be identified, that's definitely makes sense.
With that, Mr. Audley.
Thank you, members of the council. I'm Paul Audley. I'm the president of Film LA. And first I wanted to thank Councilmember Alarcon for including us in the discussions as this moves forward. As the city's permit coordinator contractor, we've been doing a lot of work with various city agencies, with the mayor's office, and with the council, and are pleased to see the movement forward. And in supporting that discussion, I'm just going to kind of go on record with some of the things we've talked about in the meetings, and some of them include what you've mentioned previously, like making sure that we're coordinating the council activity with the mayor's office as it moves forward, and we appreciate doing that. One of the concerns that has been raised from the industry to us has been confusion, and you are attempting to address that issue by clear delineation of functions and activity. We're very flexible on what we do and don't do for the city at your request. One of the things that we were asked to do is to include more marketing in addition to the work we're already doing. We are about 3/4 of the way through a program which is being funded mainly right now by our own staff putting the program together, but we've already gotten partners in the public sector and the private sector to fund and provide free opportunities to educate the community and the government about the importance of filming, from theater companies allowing us to do trailers in the movies to some of the sign companies giving us free space for that program and campaign, which we should be bringing back to you sometime in the next 30 days. So these opportunities exist and will continue to exist, but some of the areas of confusion that we've highlighted that need to be looked at include that what is the delineation of marketing between the two organizations, and our new contract does include language requiring us to provide certain services. The issue about locations, as you know, we've developed a location library for the city, which includes city facilities, and so there's going to need to be, no matter what happens, a great deal of coordination between any future body or bodies created by the city and Film LA and the services we provide. As a free service to you, we think we can do it well, and we're anxious to go forward and do that with you.
Well, thank you, and let me say this very loud and clear. Film LA is a critical organization to Los Angeles at this point, and and I believe that that their function will continue. If anything, we would want to enhance it. And it was me who held up the drafting of the contract until we added a marketing component, because I feel so strongly about the need for a marketing component, and I don't know how long it's going to take for us to establish a film commission, and I didn't want to wait. So I'm glad to see that you're in the final stages of your contract discussions with the city, and there's a very significant marketing piece included in that, and I think that's going to continue. You're going to need to, at a minimum, you're going to need to continue to market to the community, because whether it's doing sandwich boards at every film shoot out there to tell them how many jobs are being created by that film, or whether it's working with the MTA on a advertising campaign on the buses, whatever it may be, we need to let the community know more. And that function, I think you clearly have a beat on that. And but I want to be very candid with you, Mr. Audley. You come with a unique set of experiences and history, and I hope you live a long time, and I hope you work for us for a long time. But things change, and if something changes and the next person doesn't have the wealth of experience that you bring, I want to make sure that we have more people who can develop experientially the kinds of things that we need. Not that it's Plan B or anything like that, but I think we've just been very lucky with Film LA to have you. And believe me, I've known all your predecessors, and I say that without hesitance, with all due respect to them. So we want you to be part of whatever we do in the film industry, because you have not only the experience with the industry, you have the political experience to understand what we're thinking about and what we need to satisfy the various constituencies we have to satisfy. So, nope, that's my perspective on Film LA, and I plan to support it. If anything, enhance it. So thank you very much. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is represented by Nicole Shahanian.
Good afternoon, council members. Nicole Shahanian, Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Hollywood Chamber, I'm here to show support for this committee's efforts to curb runaway film production in Los Angeles through increased marketing initiatives. The Chamber applauds council members Alarcon and Garcetti for their foresight in bringing this important issue to the City Council. Runaway production remains a serious threat to the local and statewide economy. Adding to this growing challenge is the fact that LA has no real mechanism to promote and market filming opportunities in our city. Establishing a marketing component is essential to any successful strategy to curtail runaway production in LA. Although fully supportive of the marketing efforts, the Chamber has received comments from several of our members in the industry questioning whether establishment of a separate LA Film Commission is the most effective vehicle to increase marketing efforts when there are existing organizations such as Film LA that could, with an increased budget, take on marketing initiatives without the associated overhead of starting a commission from scratch. In a time when the city is already facing dire economic hardships, we encourage the committee and the city to be as prudent as possible when considering the establishment of another city commission. The Chamber remains firm in its belief that investment in a marketing campaign, whether through Film LA or through an independent film commission, is a wise investment for the long-term health of LA, and we fully support this council's efforts and will offer assistance in any way that we can.
Thank you. And that was a consideration. And by the way, I just want to mention, Tom LeBon seconded the motion. And I would just give credit where credit is due. It was Tom who seconded the motion. But I do want to say that, believe me, there isn't a council member in Los Angeles who isn't sensitive to the economic circumstances we're in, particularly with regard to the city's budget and how we expand the need for services in this area. At the same time, we're shrinking our budget, is a critical consideration and very much on our minds. With regard, but I have to say that expanding the responsibilities of Film LA also has a challenge with it, and that is, at what point do we lose our focus there and spend more time on marketing? Now, Mr. Audley is very competent, but I think my concept. I want to just tell you that my concept was to grow the entities that are focused on this industry as representing Los Angeles, because I just believe that there's benefit in numbers, and the more groups, the more organizations, and for example, the fact that we have now established a film liaison in every council office, a simple thing. It wasn't, when I was on the council the first go around in the 90s, it's like everything had to go through Jackie Goldberg because she had Hollywood. But the fact is, this industry is in every council district in a big way, not in a small way. Every council district has not only film shoots, but industry. I mean, in mine, it happens to be catering and lighting, and in and stunt people, believe it or not. And of course, the celebrities that live in every one of our districts, and so we all have an interest. So that liaison will hopefully better inform each council office on the issue of filming. I don't want to be the only one that knows about because it's in my bailiwick. I want all of us to understand so that we can deal with the problems in our own council districts as effectively as possible. Same concept with a film commission. I want there to be additional people who are championing the cause, not just Film LA. And I want them to focus on what they do best, which is ensure that our film shoots are not disrupted, and they avoid some of those disruptions with their actions. So thank you very much again. Obviously, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce is critical to this whole concept. Wade Stevens. Your business organization or affiliation is Film This. Oh, you're on item number 4. I apologize. Stuart Waldman from VICA.
Good afternoon. I'm Stuart Waldman, President of the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. We represent 341 businesses in the San Fernando Valley with more than 70,000 employees. We are here today to just make a few comments. First, we'd like to say we commend what this committee has done and shown leadership efforts to improving filming in the city of LA, and we appreciate all that you're working on. We support helping to make the city of Los Angeles more competitive in the area of filming, and we strongly feel the need to market the city and encourage additional filming in the city of LA. We do have a few concerns regarding adding another layer of bureaucracy by creating a separate LA Film Commission. We're concerned that it will lead to confusion and misunderstanding as to what entity handles troubleshooting and permits and what handles marketing. We feel that Film LA is qualified and capable of taking an expanded role of marketing, which you've already discussed doing that, and we ask that you pursue that course with the city fully supporting Film LA and the role of marketing LA to the film industry and the film industry to Los Angeles residents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those are all the cards we have on this issue, unless there are more? Okay. Then it is my intent to continue this matter for 30 days. This is a dynamic process, and in 30 days I expect that we'll have more information and more direction, and you can continue to expand your report.
Is there additional information specifically that you would like us to address?
Other than the comments that I made before and what Mr. Krikorian said, I think that will work great. But we'll continue to work with you on the report.
Okay. Some of the details that we also identified was, we talked about the mission of so we can come up with some details on that. The appointing authorities we've addressed, the term of commissioners, how long they'll sit on the commission, and there are other issues like that we'll need to address.
Sure. I think we should.
Descriptive, what the industry sectors were rather than proscriptive, those kinds of things. So.
Right, and that's why I say I don't expect this thing to happen overnight. Yeah. And it sounds easy, but it's not as easy. We've got to make sure all those details are covered.
Right.
So,
thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll like to move to item number 2.
Item number 2 is a City Administrative Officer report relative to the results of the request for proposals for film permitting coordination.
David.
Good afternoon. David Hirano with the Office of the CAO. I'm here to provide at this time a verbal update on the process of getting a new contract in place with Film LA. We are down to the wire. I think we have, within the last couple of days, resolved every issue that we had to resolve, and we are in the process of just pretty much finalizing documents and going through the administrative approvals that are necessary to bring it back to you. So this has been a long 4-year process, and I think we're at the end of it.
Okay, just a couple of specific questions. Okay, now we just talked about marketing in item number 1. We have incorporated an item for marketing in this contract.
Correct.
I was just wondering if it's not premature to incorporate some kind of language that indicates that if in fact we establish a film commission, that it would be a coordinated effort.
Sure, we could do that.
Okay. Secondly, what's going on with the website? And specifically, one of the specific questions is have we decided who's going to run it? Is it Film LA or the city?
Film LA.
Okay.
There are a lot of things the city's not going to be able to do in the near future because of our budget situation. So Film LA is
Mr. Audley in conjunction with that? Okay. Okay, one less thing you have to worry about. But so how's it coming?
I'm sorry?
So how's it coming? The website.
The Film LA website? That's a good question.
Mr. Audley.
We have a very robust website that includes links to the city. We've worked with the mayor's office as well to connect to the economic development page on film.
So this long discussed idea of a website has now become the Film LA website?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a budget consideration or?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it seems to make some sense.
We're happy to support it, and the city's able to help us to decide what needs to be on there. We're profiling city properties and other things, and making connections to city departments, including the lists.
Yeah, and when the time comes, I, for one, would not like to see 3 or 4 websites. It should be one website that's all inclusion. But yours is a county and city website.
Our website covers all of our client jurisdictions, which includes some school districts as well.
Oh, okay.
But under each of them, you can go to a specific piece about that particular client.
Okay, okay. Okay, well, I really wanted to see a specific LA website piece, but,
Well, let me be clear.
and, you know, this exactly, this points exactly to the issue that we just talked about, because a film commission in the city of Los Angeles could develop their own marketing program specific to Los Angeles City.
Mr. Alcon, maybe
Yeah.
Rochelle Silsby from the mayor's office could talk about the site that has been developed for the city that we
Oh, okay.
link to, that might be helpful.
Sure, come on up.
Good afternoon, council members. Rochelle Silsby again from the mayor's office on the business team, and I'm responsible for the mayor's entertainment policy. And one of the things that we've been working on internally through the mayor's office, through our communications department, is setting up a City of Los Angeles film website. We have staff currently working on this effort, and we are ready to roll it out quickly and in conjunction with Film LA, so we're not duplicative, so we're working together, and so that we have a lone City of Los Angeles film website where folks can go to for incentive information and how to film in Los Angeles, and also how to link up with the location information over at Film LA. So we
Okay,
are
okay,
covering-
then, yeah, okay, so we're not abandoning the notion of a city-specific website. That,
Not at
it would
all.
be
In
under
fact-
the auspices.
In fact, we didn't want to divert any type of city resources for that, so we are using our own mayor's staff currently to develop it ourselves so that we wouldn't have to expend any budget allocation for it.
That would be awesome. And I think, so Film LA will have a broader website that cover your contracts, but.
We worked to
I-
make sure that we didn't overlap information,
Yeah.
so the information in particular is about how to do business in the city, what opportunities the film industry has, and then from that site, it links back to us for locations.
Okay,
and Vice
exactly,
versa. So
exactly.
we're creating a cross-pollination between the two.
Okay, and that fits well if we create a film commission or any other entity under the auspices of the Economic Development Office. So we wouldn't have to worry about creating new websites. We just expand the existing websites.
Exactly. Obviously, we wanted to create a comprehensive website for the City of Los Angeles, and we wanted to harness Film LA's great efforts to, duplicate sort of, and work together on this website so that it can, be prosperous for a long time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, my staff wants me to ask more questions than I want to ask. Mr. Parks, did you have any questions?
I just want to thank the CAO's office, because I forget what committee this came through 3 or 4 years ago, but when all the pieces broke loose, that we asked you to bring it back together, and I think we're right back on the right track, so I appreciate that.
Okay, then with that, we really don't have an action item related to this, but we just wanted to stay on top of it. You're expecting, do we have any definitive time frame on when the contract might be signed?
I think it'll be done very quickly, so if you're planning a hearing next month on this topic, we can probably do that very easily.
Okay, now, I'm looking at some of the draft language.
Okay?
This was not one of my questions, but it is now.
Okay.
Particularly after the presentation from the mayor's office. It says, maintain a website providing information about city facilities available for filming. Such websites shall include photographs. Should there be some language in there regarding the mayor's office?
We have language in the contract that talks about them, Film LA, cooperating with the city on its use of...
Yeah, but I'm talking specifically about the website, so that there's no confusion that the website that the mayor's office is putting together is consistent with and working in conjunction with Film LA. I just think you can incorporate some of that into the language of the contract.
Sure, we can be as specific as you'd like. We are trying to be in certain areas general so that we don't have to change...
I don't want to necessarily be
But-
too prescriptive,
Right.
but I do wanted to recognize that we're on the same page.
Yes, we-
That the mayor's office, yeah.
Earlier language that put into that section says that we work in consultation with the CLA, CAO, and the mayor's office.
Yes.
So that
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a little different.
Something particularly like,
Because they're not actually going to be doing this.
if there's something particularly like to see, then please go ahead and give me the language. We do have an updated version that we can share with you.
I just think there should be some specific mention that recognizes that the mayor's office is also managing a website.
Okay.
And that their information, there's an information flow between the two.
Okay.
That is conducive to both. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to item number 3.
Mr. Chair, are we going to receive and file this report or hold a filing committee?
What's that?
Are we going to receive and file this report or hold a filing committee?
I think we want to wait until the contract's ready to come. Is the contract, this is the same file for the actual approval of the contract, or are we involved in the approval of the contract?
Yes.
Okay, so the council has to approve it?
Yes.
Okay, then what is it?
We can receive and file the August 31st, 09 report
Okay.
here, and then just wait till,
Just hold the item.
so, or we can continue the matter, just hold it in committee pending receipt.
I think we should just hold the whole thing and do it all at once. Okay. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is the Department of Transportation and Department of General Services report relative to a program to provide city-owned parking lots at no cost to film and television production companies.
Good afternoon, Melody McCormick from GSD Parking Services. As you know, on December 9th, GSD received approval to provide no-cost parking after operating hours at its GSD parking facilities. In its initial report in October to this committee, GSD had recommended that a revenue replacement mechanism be considered as an option for film production companies to utilize GSD's parking facilities during operating hours, because the majority of our requests in the Civic Center are for daytime use. The committee had requested that we report back on which facilities we would recommend during operating hours that would either be revenue neutral or would be offered at a discount and would cause no harm to local businesses. So we attach the 8 facilities that we actually control to our report. 5 of them are structures that, unfortunately, due to the structural opening, are rarely requested for use by film companies. Furthermore, 4 of those are used almost exclusively for employee parking, and GSD does not have an alternate location to displace employees to for those sites, as they do pay a monthly fee for their parking pass. One of those structures, however, is available, City Hall East Commercial, and that's primarily available for, say, for example, for individual crew parking. Our focus, therefore, is on those open lots that are routinely requested and that were also included in this report. For example, our most popular location is Lot 2 in Little Tokyo, and it could be available during operating hours, except during special events that would support the Little Tokyo business community, such as Nisei Week is a good example of their biggest event. The average revenue generated per space fluctuates at this facility between $16 and $30 per space, and it generates approximately $800,000 in revenue back to the general fund every year. The replacement option that we would recommend would be revenue neutral. It would be calculated at an average cost per space of revenue on that particular day, which again is in the case of Lot 2 would be between $16 and $30 a day. Film companies would have a flexibility to utilize as few or as many spaces as they would need without displacing any of the monthly customers. It's currently utilized approximately 20 times a year by film companies, again, utilizing this revenue replacement option. If a discount were offered or if a lot were available for free, GSD would just ask that the council establish a policy to adjust our annual revenue goal, as it is included, especially in this year's adopted budget. It's also, we would also like to note that, $30 a space is well below market conditions in the downtown area. The majority of our private competitors are charging at least $50 a space.
Okay, if you could do me a favor and sort of explain how your recommendations impact the existing conditions in terms of improvements. Can you sort of delineate what the industry would benefit?
Okay. First of all, the industry would benefit. Again, we talked about the free cost after operating hours. That is a significant improvement in what was offered previously. Typically, the cost would be set at half of the cost of what it would be during the daytime hours. But it is very critical that we remain open for the film community during the day. They have called us several times. Many production managers have called us during this process. They are very concerned. They would like to retain access, and so we would like to develop any option that as possible in order to continue to provide that to them. We do make a commitment to them that we will have that we will be available 24/7. For example, if they need us to open that facility at 2 a.m., we will have a parking attendant on site to open that facility at 2 a.m. We are posting this information on our own website. We've provided it to Film LA. We're looking forward to having that information available in any marketing program that would be created. We are well known among the production companies. I said we're very busy. We usually host a film company at least twice a month.
Okay. And you said that the recommended option was revenue neutral.
Correct.
But is there any loss of revenue as a result of changing?
No, if we go with the recommendation about replacing the revenue with an average, there would be no loss of revenue to the general fund.
Okay, but it would be an enhancement to the industry's...
It would be an enhancement to the industry.
Okay.
It's well below market rate of what they're being charged by the private sector.
Yeah.
Film production managers do understand that these parking lots do have revenue goals. They do make money for the city. It's not unusual for them to be budgeted to pay for certain locations. And, of course, if these facilities are not being utilized, they're free. In other words, after hours, certain locations on the weekends. For example, our lot over near the convention center, we only open it during a convention center activity. The rest of the time, it would be available for free.
Okay, yeah, and I think that the goal here, now the mayor met with all the general managers and expressed his desires to have us improve what we do with the film industry. And I think I want to make it clear, I'm not picking on any particular department. What I'm not looking for a total solution from any department, that's for sure. What I am looking for is continued improvement as we move forward, so that maybe next year we can come in with a little bit more, and next year after that, so that we can demonstrate that we are working very hard to compete for film production in Los Angeles and can do what we want. Now, the primary concerns with parking are not with the city of Los Angeles.
Correct.
It has to do with the privates who are charging, and we haven't got ourselves around that issue, but we would...
Which is why we're so popular.
Yeah, we would certainly like to heed your advice on how we might see greater improvements on that side of the equation. Also, I don't think the cost is all that prohibitive.
No.
But the comparison can't be with what else is being charged downtown. But I think there are some ethics issues, perhaps, in terms of gifts of public funds, et cetera, et cetera. So, but the concern I would have is we need to measure the cost of parking here against the cost of parking in Albuquerque, or the cost of parking in Georgia, or the cost of parking someplace else. But it's not just the cost per se for the parking units is not killing the industry by itself. It's just one of those 1,000 cuts I talk about, and so I really do appreciate what you've come up with. I think it's a good message to send to the industry that we are going to try to extend better services to you in the parking area. With that, Mr. Krikorian, did you have any comments? Okay, with that, I have no problem with supporting the recommendations, particularly with regard to the revenue replacement notion and revenue neutral strategy. I think it's a good, positive message. I'm not going to ask you to do more than what is reasonable, but then again, no. I'm going to continue to come back and ask for a little bit more here and there, so that we can.
And that's fine. Like I said, our parking managers continue to work with production companies. They're very sensitive to what it is that they need, and we will continue to keep that in mind.
Well, thank you very much. And let's see, do we? Is this something we approve?
It seems to be referring to recommendations per the General Services Department on December 28, 2009 in regard to,
So we would want to adopt the GSD recommendations.
right, and it seems that the DOT's report is somewhat supplemental. There really isn't precise recommendations here. So essentially, seems to go back to the GSD report unless I missed something here.
Okay, then if you're okay with that, Mr. Krikorian moves that we adopt the General Services Department report with regard to parking and the filming industry. And I concur. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have item number 4.
Item number 4 is a motion, Alacon Garcetti, relative to instructing the chief executive of every city department and agency to prepare a report concerning their efforts to facilitate filming in the city.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Did we also need a DOT report? Where did they leave? Oh, get them back. It's just a little confusing here. Hold on a second. So let me get this clear. Item number 3 includes DOT as well? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize to DOT. Oh, are you the DOT guy?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm okay.
You knew.
Everything.
You didn't jump up and say, "Hey, what about us?"
I'm okay. I wouldn't do that.
Well, then let's. I'm sorry. Go ahead and give your report.
Well, from Rene Sagla's Department of Transportation.
We're back to item number 3, by the way.
We submitted a report with regards to directing the motion directing DOT regarding the film parking. We have 118 facilities that off-street parking facilities that we manage. Several of which is managed by GSD, but most of the lots are under the LADOT. At this point, we don't have any problem as far as the film industry. We have a relationship with the Film LA where we have given them the list of the 118 facilities and the operation, hours of operation, and the restrictions. And most of these restrictions are council-dictated restrictions, not LADOT restriction. The only fee that has been agreed upon between Film LA and LADOT is a $100 per day use of the lot. And if filming is done on the lot itself, there is a $300 fee. All these fees does not even touch the hand of LADOT. It is all handled by Film LA, and Film LA deposits the money to the general fund. As far as operated lots is concerned, this is where we are requesting for a replacement revenue for the cost of the operation. There are about 25 facilities that are operated lots, and most of them, several of them are actually being used by the film industry. And we are recommending that if there is any use of the facilities and that of the operated facilities and the revenue neutral methodology would be in place. What we have right now is the current methodology that we do is we compute the cost of revenue for that particular operated lot, and whatever the cost per space is charged against the film company. So in a sense, it is a revenue neutral methodology.
Okay, we're sort of asking departments to find new ground. GSD came back with a very specific recommendation that was very understandable. I'm not clear on what you're recommending and what enhancements you are offering to the services we provide to the film industry with regard to your bailiwick. So rather than, belabor the point here, what I'd like to do is ask you to look at what GSD did and come back with similar recommendations that meet what, you tell me, I don't want you to go bust on this thing, but I want you to tell me what exactly you can do to enhance what the film industry does. The mayor sat down with you or your general manager and all the other general managers and said, come back with stuff, and I'm holding you to that.
Right.
So I want to know specifically what kind of recommendations they even broke it down by parking lot. Of course, they have fewer, and I grant you that, but I really would like to send a similar message to the industry relative to what DOT does, and I'm not getting a clear picture of what recommendations you're making.
Let me go back. As far as the 118 facilities that we have, all the facilities that are metered and free lots, they're already offered to the film industry 24/7. So I don't see any more. I can't think of at this point what else that we could offer to the film industry. And these lots, which they have a list, all of these lots they can use, they coordinated, and we're informed that these lots are available. The only similarity that we will have with general services are those with the operated lots, which from what they have mentioned previously, we are amenable and we are okay with the same process that they would want to do, wherein offer a replacement revenue. Our rate is probably within the same rate that they have, because the cost of operation is almost the same cost of operation that we have.
Okay.
So at this point, the recommendation brought forth by General Services would also be the same as far as the operated lots are concerned. And again, as I've said, I don't see if there's anything else that we could offer as far as the metered lots and the free lots.
I guess I'm very hesitant to say that we instruct DOT's recommendations to reflect those of GSD. I'd rather just have you come in with the recommendations directly, and we can do it in 30 days. We don't have to do it today, and we're all learning here. We're all, like I said, this is sort of new stuff in terms of economic development efforts, and so if you could come back with specific recommendations, I don't disagree with anything you said. I'm just not clear whether what we're saying, and your scale is much bigger. So if you could show us how that works. And also with regard to the metered parking, those are constrained by rules that were not necessarily made by the department. I haven't read your report in detail, so it may be in there, it may not. But is there no way that we could enhance that, or is there some way we could do it, but we might need council action or something? So we want to think outside the box here, okay? And that's all.
And most of the enhancement that we will do with the metered lots would be to talk with the council district for us to be able to ease up on the restrictions on the usage.
Yeah.
Specific council, like in council 11, they would say this lot is only good for morning filming. You can't use it in the evening because there's residential, and so on and so forth. Also,
those are realities,
right?
And I recognize that, because frankly, each film shoot needs different things.
Correct.
And so I don't have a problem with those things. But if you can't come in with broad language, I think what you were referring to was the recommendations change language from after business hours to after operating hours. That's fine. The revenue replacement during operating hours, I have no problem with those. But if I'd rather have you delineate them than have GSD delineate them for you, and that way you can do it in your way. And
absolutely,
on reflection, it may come back a little different. I don't know, and I'm open to that. Okay.
Okay.
But so we'll give you 30 days to come back and do that again. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we can move to item number 4.
Okay, item number 4, motion Alacon Garcetti, instructing chief executives of every city department to report on their efforts to facilitate filming. We've invited DOT and GSD to provide a status.
DOT's here. Did GSD leave?
My running is getting weaker. I tiptoed up to the table on the prior item because I thought you were sort of segueing into this one.
I apologize for not doing that. Oh, your GSD is back, so. Okay.
Yes.
Were we supposed to? Okay, Valerie. Okay. Right, they're here.
Would you like me to summarize what?
Well, we already took action on the parking.
Oh, okay.
This is a broader question.
Okay.
With regard to GSD, it relates to, for example, vacant properties.
Okay.
And what are we doing to improve access by the film industry for our vacant properties? I'm not getting a sense of confidence that you're ready.
Let me start.
You're ready to do this, but so we're going to move to transportation.
As I
and-
understand it, the motion recommends, actually instructs departments to prepare written reports telling you what we're doing to facilitate filming in the city of Los
We
Angeles.
specifically were concerned about street closures for filming, sign posting, follow-up on free parking program, et cetera.
Okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak on this. My name is Carolyn Jackson. I work for LADOT. We are very sensitive to the needs of the film industry, and we want to be responsive to the directive that you're giving us today. We're pleased to report back on the activities that we are conducting to make DOT and its streets more film friendly. There's a small core of our group that is meeting with other departments to figure out what we can do, and we'll be happy to report back to you in writing in 4 weeks.
I just knew that was coming.
Well, I like to give you.
I think I grant you there was
I'm trying to
a,
stay within the deadline of my own city service.
yeah, there was a
leading
little
city service.
Yeah, there was a little confusion on the proximity of these two items, and I understand the confusion. But yeah, we're asking for the next beyond the parking. What other things can we do?
Right. And from GSD's perspective, we do have a staff member from our department who is sitting on that larger film task committee, and they are preparing the report as written here.
Great.
Obviously, I manage the parking division, and so I was here on item 3, but I will certainly take your concerns back. I know that they are working on it, including a provision and the listing about the vacant properties that GSD does have throughout the
Okay,
city.
yeah, the message to convey to the general managers is no different than the message that the mayor gave to all the general managers, and that is, can we just do a little bit better? The other thing, in hiring the new economic development person in the mayor's office, there was very specifically, in fact, Austin Butner did say specifically that he wanted to change the culture. So one of the things that I would be particularly interested in, and this is not necessarily just related to the film industry, but what is each general manager doing to change the culture of the department to have a better appreciation for the individual and collective impact on economic development. And sometimes our folks get so focused in on the tasks or the regulation that they are implementing that they lose sight of the greater impact in terms of job creation and the delays and the negative impacts of the delays in terms of creating jobs. And we're experiencing 14% unemployment. We really, I've believed this since I was a personnel analyst for the city of LA, that we really need to be connected to the economy in a service way. So one of the things that I would like you to factor into your report is what are we doing about the culture of your departments so that everybody knows that they are part of our economy, they are part of the revenue stream that creates their job, they are part of building a better Los Angeles, they are part of instigating more business opportunities, and so those are some of the things that I would ask for DOT, to a lesser extent to general services, but to some extent. And but clearly DOT has a primary function in that, along with departments like planning and building and safety, and you know, I embrace those messages, and I'm as a committee chair, I just want to enhance those pushes. So the next time when the mayor convenes all the general managers, you can all stand up and say, well, I did this, this, and this. I want
You'll be prepared
to have everything. So we're going to be calling, and the other point I would make is that the next time, if we could get right to it, and because we're going to have, we'll probably have 2 other general managers coming in, and so I don't want to get bogged down with, you know, by the end of, you know, in 6 months have 16 general managers presenting to me. My staff is available to work with you on this, okay?
Okay.
So we really appreciate it. Thank you much. We can wait 30 days then.
Thank you.
I do have one card on this item. That was Wade Stevens. My staff is mentioning that DWP actually did a good report that we very, very much appreciated, and it actually covered all those things I just mentioned. And it might be a good model for you to look at. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Wade Stevens, owner-operator of Film This Production Services. And we help production land on location with a number of different services. One, the photograph I've given you there shows one of the services we provide in the city of Los Angeles, or not in the city of Los Angeles, but in other jurisdictions. As you can see by that photograph, the no parking sign has been posted on a sign that already says no parking anytime. For one of our clients, they were unable to park at this location, unable to land at their location, which disrupted their shoot and cost them hours of filming time. What I propose, and I proposed at the task force, I proposed to every office or every jurisdiction or office that'll listen to me, is to allow production to do their own posting. The option to do their own posting. Some will take it, some won't. It won't affect the cost of posting. Those production companies that don't have enough money to put up their own signs won't, and DOT will still put up the signs. Those productions that do have the funds to make sure their posting is up where and when they need it will actually be able to do that, and DOT can still, the employees can still verify that the posting has actually been put up per the municipal code in the city of Los Angeles. I believe that this will help production, facilitate filming in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, and show some good forward movement by the Department of Transportation in this matter. That's it. Thank you.
This looks like something right out of Jay Leno. Okay, we also have Lynn Kawahara. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, on item number 4, as you heard, we do want to improve the service. At the same time, we are sensitive to, I don't know why there was no parking on this particular street at any time, and I don't, therefore know why they would allow for temporary. It appears they're allowing for temporary parking, but it really doesn't. It's not a mistake by the person who posted it. The person who posted it is just tasked with posting. It was a mistake of somebody that didn't check the route to see if it already had a sign. And Mr. Audley, you could probably tell us, this probably occurs with some regularity. And
there are a lot of human errors surrounding posting.
So I think I will tell you this: when we talked about culture, one of the cultural things that you would think it's like, duh. And that's, the person that did the posting should have called somebody and said there's already a sign for no posting or no parking. And maybe they did. But in any case, those are the kinds of things we need to improve on. There's no question about it. So thank you very much. Okay, and if you'd like to work with my staff to work with departments responsible, in this case DOT, responsible for this. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to public comment. We okay with that, Mr. Parks? Yes. Okay, then we are in public comment. Lynn Kawahara.
Good afternoon, Councilman. I wanted to thank you for your time and efforts on behalf of the motion picture business and jobs, trying to retain jobs here in Los Angeles. I'm a location manager when I do have a job. My answer to criticism of why the city is trying to help the motion picture industry is not to just retain jobs that are already here, but to do outreach to the future people who want to come into the motion picture industry, who have absolutely no idea how to get into the business. On my own personal story is I went to LA High. There was a very old television series called Room 222 that used to shoot the exteriors at the old LA High, and I would look out the window of my classroom and say, I can do that. So every time we go out into the various areas of the city, we are doing outreach. We are showing people who never dreamed that they could do anything in the motion picture industry, that there are other opportunities out there other than being the star actress or actor. So, we may not lift all boats, but we do help some very talented people set sail. Thank you.
I think your personal experience is it is part of the strategy to create jobs for the next generation of Los Angelinos. And we sometimes lose sight of that. I don't as a teacher, but our kids need to, if they relate to something, there's a better chance that they'll open their eyes to the possibilities. So if they're filming in different locations, whether it be at a school or someplace else where kids are, then they'll realize that the person holding the camera or the person with a light or the person standing with a clipboard that's something that they might be able to do and they might be interested in. So it's not lost here. This committee well understands the benefits of just we talk about marketing a lot. I can't think of a better marketing program than to have the film industry out there in the communities exhibiting to kids that they could get a good job in this industry. And I do know that because of the interesting nature of the business, where creativity is given a premium, that a lot of people have turned their lives around because of the industry. And they could have been going down a dark trail, and now they have a very positive future in front of them. So we get that part. We just want everybody to understand that. So thank you very much for your testimony. I'm getting mixed messages from staff. In terms of the reports, was there something we didn't do? Oh, we have to send the motion back to the council?
Well, essentially, there's
Okay, this is just a technical item. The council technically has not approved the general manager's reporting to this committee, so we'd like to send the motion on to committee for recommendation of approval, so that we can continue with the support of the council to have general managers report to this committee.
Okay, so we're going to send this then to council?
Right.
This motion, okay.
Thank you. With a recommendation for, to receive the general manager's report, is that to approve the motion and to receive the general manager's reports that do come in. Thank you. Any other comments? No other cards? Oh, one more card, just in the nick of time. Edward Gutentag.
Hi.
Is this a public comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Ed Gutentag. I'm a cinematographer. I'm in Local 600, and I want to thank you for starting this committee, and also wanted to introduce myself to you and let you know that I started a group on Facebook. In fact, you and I are friends. Okay. I'm the guy sitting next to the Dalai Lama. And, yes, yeah. Most people asked him how he felt after he met me, but, anyway, I started this group on a whim, and there's almost 12,000 members now. And, I just wanted to let you know that if there's any way that this grassroots group can be part of this, there's a lot of filmmakers in this group. And filmmakers are kind of amazing people because producers kind of realize that they could take us and move us anywhere and we'll get the work done. And there's a lot of us that really know how to, cut through the chaff. And tomorrow I'm interviewing one of the biggest producers in Hollywood. I don't want to say who it is yet in case he cancels, but because he's canceled once already. And we have this incredible movement, and we just want to be part of whatever you're doing, and I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. I think, like I said, the more people that are involved in advocacy, general or specific, benefits the industry. And so, no, we appreciate that. And Becca Doughton is my staff, specifically working on the film industry issues. So if you'd work with her, we'll be happy to work back.
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you much. Okay, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.